When I sat down with today's guest in person at New York Now, and she was sharing her story and the things she's learned and giving advice to the listeners, all I could think was, I really want to be friends with Mehru. Mehru Anand is just a powerhouse woman. She is sharing with you today about her corporate transition into the retail world and starting her own business and the things she learned about working with freelancers and the difference with e-com, Shopify and Etsy, and just really structuring her time and where she's going with the company. I mean, man, how Mehru ends this episode with her vision of where she's going is really inspiring. I've just felt so inspired by Mehru, and I just was like, I wish that I lived in New York. That's where she is. She owns Doodling NYC. Obviously, I love New York so much. It's my favorite city. I love what she's up to. And I would love to just hang out with Mehru and have these business conversations. So I think you're going to love this conversation as well. Before we dive in, here's a little bit more about my guest. Mehru Anand is the founder of Doodling NYC and former corporate executive. She's passionate about authenticity and encourages everyone to celebrate their unique selves. Her brand embodies the motto, being proudly imperfect. Through Doodling NYC, she inspires creativity and self-expression, providing unique products that resonate with individuals who appreciate originality. You can learn more, and you should check out Mehru's designs at doodlingnyc.com and follow along on Instagram. She's doodling_NYC. You're going to love this conversation, so let's dive in. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Crystal Vilkaitis, the Wolf of Main Street, and this is Rooted in Retail. Mehru, welcome to Rooted in Retail. I'm thrilled you're here.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yes, and we are in person at New York Now, which is really cool to be here. And I just want to give a big shout out to New York Now for having us. If you sell gifts, be sure to check out their market. You can also check them out online at nynow.com. Mehru, before we dive in, tell me a little bit about you and your retail journey.
I am Mehru. I came to the US in 2007 for my master's in computer science.
Okay.
I graduated in 2008. Right out of school, I started working for corporate, worked my way up. I was an executive leader, and my forte was people leadership and execution. Still is. I shouldn't say was. But I took a break last year. And the reason for the break was just to recoup, get back to work in about 6 months or so.
Okay.
Because it was like 15 years or so, and I was just really, really tired. What happened was, right when I was looking for a job, I was like, I wanted to do something with the doodles that my husband creates, and I'll get to that. And I did not know what, but I was like, you know what, let me start doing that. So I started on that journey, not knowing the what, not knowing the why, and started working on it. My journey has been, it started with trying out different products. Some did not work out. Some did not have the right profit margins. Of course, that they were not launched. And my first product that was launched was cotton tote bags in October. And that was because it was Halloween time. We had two doodles, which was pretty much a dragon doodle and a witch doodle. And people really loved it.
Yeah.
Like the kids were like, they loved the dragon. I thought they loved the witch, but they loved the dragon a lot.
Yeah.
So after that, just started working on one product after the other. And in my journey, right, what I realized in February was I'm launching products, but I don't have a brand, right? I know I have a story, but I'm not telling my story the way I should be telling my story. So I started working with a freelancer, created my brand, created my logo, my banner for Etsy. At that time, I was only on Etsy.
Okay.
And then one thing just led to the other. Now I have my Shopify website where I can actually stand out.
Yeah.
From a consumer standpoint, like, B2C, I think I am ready. I have a good presence.
Yeah.
And I'm here at NY Now, and I'm looking at what other people are doing, meeting retailers and wholesalers. And I think that's what I'm trying to, navigate now and see, like, what can I do here?
Yeah.
And that's been my journey so far.
Oh my gosh, it's so awesome. Congrats. That's
Thank you.
exciting. And I feel like you're at a great place being here to learn and just soak it all in. On your website, as I was preparing for this, you say you have a philosophy of being proudly imperfect. I love that so much. And so how has this influenced your brand, your product designs? Let's talk about that.
Let me start by saying, like I said, I did not know what I was doing or why I was doing it. And it was just one of my conversations with my therapist. I was on the call and we were uncovering some stuff, and we were talking, and I said, you know why I'm doing this? Because, I focus so much on perfection, and these doodles make me smile. And that's when I realized, why am I doing this? Someone who's personified, perfection for most of my life. I think now I realize it's progress over perfection. And these doodles, and my husband started creating them in 2020.
Okay.
When there was nothing to do, we were working from home.
Yeah.
His office space at home is in the bedroom that faces the Empire State.
Okay.
Right? So he would get inspired by the Empire State.
Yeah.
These are hand-drawn, whimsical, just raw doodles.
Yeah.
Right? There's no AI. So, and they make me smile. They're so imperfect, but they just make me so happy.
Yeah.
So that gave rise to our motto, which is being proudly imperfect and just enjoy life. And the reason why these doodles are on everyday products is because, say you're carrying a phone case, or you're carrying your phone that you carry everywhere, or you're carrying a tote bag. You look at the doodle, and that's a constant reminder to enjoy everything in life. That's where I am. And I think it inspires me. I do get derailed from time to time. It's hard to change like old habits, but it's a constant reminder. Progress over perfection.
Yes.
Just enjoy life.
Yes. Well, to have that physical good, to have that reminder. I recently heard on a podcast, I'm perfectly imperfect. And just saying that was like, yes, I'm exactly how I am supposed to be. We're all going to be imperfect. And I think that as business owners, we put so much pressure on being perfect and showing up perfect and doing our lives perfectly that it can hold us back. And so having this reminder and having that motto, I think is so beautiful and will just inspire others too. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the aim. That's the aim, just to put a smile on everyone's face.
Yeah.
I feel so good when someone looks at it and they smile.
Yeah.
And I have one instance that I wanted to share. So the guy who does my taxes,
Okay.
right? So he was doing taxes. He was like, what is this LLC of yours just for tax purposes? I'm like, no. Yeah. This is an actual brand.
Yes.
And then I showed him some stuff and I gave him a phone cover. And imagine this was tax season, where he was even, sleeping in his office.
Yeah.
And I gave him the phone cover. He stops me. He was like, Mehru. I'm like, yeah. That big of a smile. This guy is a 45 to 50-year-old guy, right? I have never seen him smiling so much. He was so happy. That's, those are the moments when I feel, okay, I'm doing something right.
Yep, absolutely. Oh my gosh, I love that story. That's so sweet. Okay, so you mentioned how you transitioned from being in the corporate world to now making and selling products online. And so I would love to know, what are some of the bigger challenges that you had in that transition and how did you overcome them?
There's been a lot.
Okay.
I think the first one is structure. So when you work for corporate, it's either like 8 to 5, 9 to 6, per se, you get your breaks and stuff.
Yeah.
But you have a structure to the day because you work with the team, you work with other people. Come, be a solopreneur because I'm doing everything alone. My husband doodles, but everything else is just me.
Yeah.
I got up that day and I'm like, okay, what do I do?
Yeah.
So I think finding that rhythm is really hard.
Yeah.
But what you do is you practice every day. You see what suits you. When should you take breaks? So that's how you get into a rhythm. And there is I wouldn't say there's a right answer to it.
Yeah.
You get through it. You find your balance. And I think I've found my balance now.
Good.
And I think in addition to that, in corporate, right, there was a vision that the corporate defined.
Yep.
Right? They were posed with problems. And me and my team, because I used to lead a group of engineers and project managers and business analysts, we were tasked to solve for those problems, right? And I would guide them. I would mentor them. We would execute on products and projects. Now, here, I have to define the problem first or say what the question is,
Yep.
solve for the problem or, find solutions, even if I have to delegate that to someone else.
Right.
I have to do that myself. And you can just go around in circles when you do that.
Yes.
And it's very hard. In order to do that, I think what I find is I reflect probably twice a week, sometimes 3 times a week. I take a step back.
Okay.
I retrospect and I see, what did I do right? Where can I do better? I don't say, what did I do wrong? There's nothing wrong. I'm still learning,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Where can I do better? And I think those reflections, am I being true to my vision? Because the vision is mine too. There is no corporate vision, right? And I think that helps a lot. And once again, I'm still learning. And even if you're like probably 2 years, 3 years in your retail business, you still learn, right? You're at that stage, you still learn. So I think that's very, very important.
Yeah.
And the third one is, which is the most challenging for me, to be honest. In a corporate world, I was a leader. I had my team. I would focus here. I would focus on strategy. I would focus on marketing my team. And they would execute. I wasn't in the weeds.
Right.
Now I'm everywhere.
Yes.
Right. And I think the hardest part is, how do I not lose focus of the bigger picture while still solving for the smaller things? And I think that's been very challenging. And I have tried to do a lot. That meant nothing got done, right?
Yes.
And now what I do is I try to focus on 80-20 rule, which is focus 80% of your time on 20% of the tasks that provide the most value. And it's not like I don't get up the day and see what do I have to do. And I think the best way to practice that is a night before, I write down what are the 3 or 4 top things that I need to tackle the next day, right? So that when I get up, I have that right in front of me and I'm not figuring out, oh my God, where do I begin?
Exactly.
That's so important. So I get up, I use an app, Microsoft To Do. Okay. It is very, very good to manage tasks. So nothing's in my brain. Everything is in Microsoft To Do. Like anything that comes to my mind goes there.
Yeah.
So all the trash in my brain is in Microsoft To Do. But I have my 3 tasks and then I have Microsoft To Do and I'm set for the day.
Oh my gosh. Organization, having those systems are critical.
Absolutely.
And I know there's retailers listening to this right now being like, yeah, I've lost the vision. I'm so in the weeds. I don't have that structure. It's so challenging because we're wearing a million different hats. And if you don't have that thought to pause, I love that you say, I take these breaks several times a week to step back and really reflect and make sure, like, what's going on here? You get so caught up. And then I see a lot of businesses that just waste a lot of time on things that are not the 20% that are really going to move us forward. And we just need systems in place. So you figured that out early in your
I'm still learning.
Yes.
I'm still learning. It's hard to say because I get derailed still.
Yes.
And then I'm like, then I look at the end of the day, I'm like, what did I do today?
Uh-huh.
And I think that's a constant reminder to say, okay, Mehru, focus.
Yes.
Right? You can't get to everything. What are the things that are going to provide the most value?
Yep.
So I think that's very important.
Yeah, it does. It's so good. And I love the tweak. Do it at night, not the day of. Do it at night. Be prepared. So good. Okay, let's talk about e-com because you mentioned that you were on Etsy in the beginning and now you're on Shopify. So what's been your experience with these platforms? Which one do you like? What are your thoughts on those?
I would say Etsy and Shopify are amazing platforms, right? And I think someone should leverage both. When I started, I still think the right place to start was Etsy. And the reason I say that is because I'm brand new to this. I pretty much didn't know what I was doing. Etsy has a marketplace. So you get Etsy customers when you create an account on Etsy. There are people who come to Etsy, search on Etsy. You get all the bells and whistles of, a great UI. It's so easy to upload your products. Yeah. They have the chat system. They have the marketing emails. They have everything in place. And some things that I did not realize before, they do the sales tax for you and everything else, which I'll come to from a Shopify standpoint because that was a shocker for me.
Okay.
So I think they do many things very, very well. And in February, end of February, March, I had my logo, my banner. So Etsy shop was all set up. But my challenge was I am using print on demand because I have so many doodles, so many products. I don't know what to keep a stock of.
Yeah.
For me, print on demand is a means to an end. and not like a side thing where I'm selling stuff using print on demand. But then I think in February, I was just searching on Etsy. So many NY themed products popped on Etsy, which were not there. I did my research before, which were not there. Like, I am not other NY themed products, but imagine you're on Etsy and you're searching. Cover mockups almost look the same. People look past that and like scroll, and they go on to the next thing. And that's when I realized that I really need to do something about it. I have a brand now, but I cannot tell my story. I cannot blog here. I don't have a cohesive place and I need to stand out. And that's when I said, okay, let's go to Shopify. And that's when I started working on Shopify. And now I have a Shopify store. I have my blog that I do every month. And I actually just launched the Etsy versus Shopify blog, I think 3 days back or something.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's there. And that's been like my experience. But once again, since Shopify has been launched, I have my moments of, oh, I did not know this. And the biggest one was sales tax. And I was like, oh, how do I do that? So that's been a big learning curve. Although the freelancer who was helping me with the website, he asked me, are you prepared for Shopify? I said, what do you mean I'm prepared for Shopify?
No kidding.
So I think it's been a learning curve. But, the way to stand out as a brand, to share your story, I think there is nothing like having your own website.
Yeah, you have to have your own platform.
Yes.
I think because you can get lost with all the other competitors that are on a platform like Etsy. And it really is about the product. It's not about the mission, the brand, belonging to the brand.
Exactly.
So you're obviously looking at creating that brand, and people really want to belong to the brand. You got to do that on your own platform. So that was a good switch for you. You mentioned freelancers. So do you have some tips on working with freelancers and hiring freelancers? Because I think that, there's so many great platforms out there for our retailers to find somebody. And I think sometimes we maybe don't do it because we haven't done it yet. What we don't know can scare us. And so I'd love to kind of hear, like, what are you using freelancers for and what tips you have for hiring?
I definitely initially did not think I would need freelancers. I could do it all. Yeah, but no, I can't. You realize you start off, you're like, okay, it's not so much. And then you're like, it's just a lot.
Yeah.
So I've used both Fiverr and Upwork.
Okay.
And they're both great platforms to find freelancers. And based on my experience, I've found a lot of luck finding people who do designs, Photoshop, branding on Fiverr. Upwork is great for more technical projects.
Okay.
So when it came to my logo and my banner and my visual branding, that was Fiverr.
Okay.
And my Shopify website has been Upwork. So I've used both of them. Now, when it comes to how do you find the right people? Both of these platforms have their top-rated freelancers. But once again, you have to put in the work to read the reviews. I wouldn't say just pick one and start chatting with them and go with that person. Figure out 2 or 3 people, right? Chat with them, read their reviews. But also, when you're chatting with them, you need to know what kind of answers you're looking for. So I'll give an example. When I wanted to work on Etsy SEO. I'd done some work myself. So I needed some knowledge to ask the right questions and assess the right answers. I've gotten crappy answers too, but the reason I knew they were crappy was because I had done my research. So it's very important to do a little bit of research, talk to a few of them, and then finalize your person. And always have a backup because, they can have like different rates and stuff. And I would say, do negotiate where you can. You can negotiate.
Yeah, that is a great tip. I think a lot of people don't realize that you can say, how about this? Or can we look at this type of scope of work? This is my budget. And if it makes sense for them, they'll say yes. But that is such a good point about knowing the right questions to ask and what kinds of answers you'll be looking for. I feel like, especially when it comes to marketing or branding, sometimes we don't know if we don't have that experience. So maybe using AI to say, I'm searching for somebody to help me with my brand or a banner or a new logo or whatever that is. What are the questions I should be asking and what are the types of answers I should expect, at least to coach us in those scenarios? Because you can, unfortunately, I've heard so many retailers get taken advantage of, whether it's marketing, branding, website, ads. There's so many different things because they just don't know what they don't know,
Absolutely.
you know? And yeah.
With my branding search, when I was, looking for someone, there was someone who quoted around $500 to create a logo and to create a banner. I mean, and I thought maybe that's the right rate. Guess who I finalized? I finalized someone who charged me $50.
Wow.
And I didn't finalize her because she was cheaper.
Yeah.
I'd seen her work, I'd seen his work, and then I saw what kind of work she was doing and what kind of questions she was asking me. She didn't say she'll do it. She wanted to know more.
Yeah.
She's worked out great, and I've gone to her 4 more times after that. She's my go-to person when it comes to designing and visual stuff. So at least found one person on Fiverr.
Yeah.
And she does great. Like my brochures for NY Now, my branding, my banner, everything is her design.
If you're looking to amplify your results, things like get more people to your events, more foot traffic, grow your email list, more website visitors, more local awareness, then we can help you at Crystal Media. We have a Facebook and Instagram ads agency. This is a done for you service and is typically best for retailers that have a physical storefront because we are pros at driving foot traffic and local awareness that are doing about 600,000 a year in revenue or more. So if this is you, if you're looking for those results, you want that support, you want a dedicated person to help you grow your store, then you can go to crystalmediaco.com/ads, ADS, ads, and learn more about our ads management offering. Right there, you can secure your seat. We are boutique, so we only work with a small amount of retailers. So go to crystalmediaco.com/ads to learn more. That is so good. That's where you can save so much time. Your point, if she was asking a lot of questions, that tells you, oh, they know what they're doing.
Yes.
This is going to save me a lot of time. If you work with somebody that's not asking any kind of question, it's almost like you're getting into a nightmare situation, I feel like, because there will be questions.
Yes.
Or they're going to design something and you're like, what made you even think that this was what I was looking for? But it's because they didn't ask anything. So you have to really do your research. But man, I mean, they can save you so much time and energy. There's a lot of talent out there with the gig workers, right? Like a lot of talent. So,
absolutely. A lot of talent. I think one thing I have found challenging is, once again, corporate to this, is when you're in a corporate world in a team, like they're either working for you or with you, it's easier. Here, you have to find that balance of time where you can communicate. Because I've had my things where I would send a message in the morning and then freak out and not get something in the evening.
Yeah.
So I would be upfront and say, what time can we work together?
Yes, that's a great
because
tip.
so that you're not waiting to get an answer.
Yeah.
Because some projects do take longer.
They do. You have to manage expectations. Otherwise, you are going to be regretting the decision. You're going to be like, where are you? Then it can create this terrible experience with working with this person. So be so clear. I've worked with a lot of freelancers over my careers too. And timelines, super clear communication, be as detailed as you can, asking the right questions are so important. So I think that gave some good encouragement to listeners who need help because they need some help. And there's a lot of great help online.
I'm happy to help.
Yeah.
And, whoever's listening to your podcast, if they want to, come to me, message me on Instagram, on my, my own Instagram or Doodling NYC, I'm really happy to help because I know it can be quite daunting. And it's very challenging sometimes. And like if someone's looking for like freelancers, and I've shortlisted some of them, and I'm happy to help.
Okay, thank you. That's so great. So reach out. We'll link to your Instagram too so everybody can follow you. Okay, so what does the future look like for you and Doodling NYC?
So the first thing for me was, figuring out the B2C space.
Yeah.
Right, that's done. And now I'm at NY Now because I want to know the B2B space and understand what are like retailers looking for. And once again, I am online on Instagram. I have an Instagram shop, Etsy shop, and my own website. But I want to see, can I be in brick-and-mortar stores?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because there are people who want to touch and feel the product.
Exactly.
Right? So that's important. The other thing I want to do is I want to build a community. So I always say whoever buys from us is a part of Doodling NYC family. And I really, really mean it when I say that. But how do I create that experience that builds a community? And this is not a fully baked idea, but I was talking to someone and one of my friends, and she was like, Mehru, do you know what people want today? They want an experience more than just a product.
Yeah.
Although our products do connect at an emotional level, the print on the products, I would say. What I want to do is I want to invite people to probably doodle on their windows or something and tag us. And I think the tag that I finalized was Doodling NYC family.
Okay.
Right? So tag us. And then maybe we could print their print on the product and send to them, or, and then form a community where it's not just us. You're not just sending products and making them smile. You're encouraging people to do that.
Yeah.
Not AI, not on your iPad
Exactly.
with something. Actual raw form, the way we used to do back in the day.
Yep.
I think that's what I'm trying to create. And my big vision, I don't know if I'll get there or not, but I am dreaming. My big vision is probably going from Doodling NYC to Doodling Verse, like Metaverse.
Okay.
So it's pretty much creating a global community where there are artists from different places. And see, we're doing New York skylines, and go to Chicago skyline, or Eiffel Tower. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like it's limitless. And then they be a part of the community, and then it becomes like a much bigger community where it's a global thing where people are doing it, and it's spreading more and more joy.
So cool. I can't wait to follow along with this journey. I can so see it. Like I see I see the community. I love the aspect of a community because I feel like people, they want that. They want the connection. We want something that's more meaningful than just buying a product. And so being a part of that community is really special. Like, and talk about great social media content. Like getting people submitting that, tagging and resharing. I mean, it's very smart. That's so awesome.
I would actually love that because
Yeah.
I think I feel more than just selling or anything. If someone's happy, I don't care whether it's they buy the product and they're happy, or they're doodling on their window or in their sketchbook and they're happy and they're doing that because of Doodling NYC.
Mm-hmm.
I think mission accomplished.
Yeah. I love it. That's awesome. So good. Mehru, are you ready for the resilience round?
As ready as I can be.
Okay, let's do it. Best business book.
Okay. I am not a business book reader. I know a lot of people, read books and they're great books to read. I like to consume bite-sized information.
Okay.
For that, what I do is I either listen to podcast, my newfound podcast, Rooted in Retail, and YouTube. I just pretty much search for a lot of topics, and then I get to know people who are doing well in those areas. I subscribe to their channels. And pretty much, I get notifications of that. And I have always learned that way, like practical, looking at something. And I know it's not always easy, but it takes me back to my undergrad days. The way I would prepare for the exam would be I would ask my friend to read and explain it to me. I would write it down. I would never read the book.
Okay.
I would read my notes. I would go, and I did well.
Yeah. Yeah. Your style. I had such a hard time when I had to read things too, especially in school. I'm a little bit better now, but yeah, I agree with you. Love that you're listening to the podcast too. Best retail technology, like an app or software.
I will divide that into two parts. Let's talk about social media first.
Yeah.
There's so many to choose from. And when I started, I didn't know any of them, but, learned from other people. I think my top ones are Mojo, CapCut, InShot, and Photoroom. Okay. Mojo and CapCut go hand in hand. They've got very viral themes. But I think if you can get CapCut, the paid version, I don't have the paid version. I don't think it's too expensive either. You get a lot of themes and a lot of templates to choose from. The content is still yours,
right?
But how do you make it more appealing? How do you make it stand out? So I think that's very good. InShot is pretty much used for like editing videos and stuff. It's a great tool. Photoroom, great for sellers if they want to remove background, add different backgrounds. Photoroom has been great for me for that purpose. The other one is, let's come to Shopify. Okay, right? A lot of people are using Shopify for their websites. It's limitless. Yeah. You have to be very careful. You cannot just keep installing apps. It's going to slow down your website.
Yeah.
So to be very careful with that. My website is not app heavy, but the most useful one that I'm looking for now is Judge Me. It's a review app where you can collect review from customers. Right now, I have another app, Reputon, which I'm using to get Etsy reviews to Shopify. But soon I will switch to Judge Me. And there are others like affiliate apps. You could just, in a matter of like minutes, you could have your affiliate marketing for your brand set up. So there's just so many apps to choose from. As I go on my journey, I would like blog about it and make sure people come to know about it.
Okay, awesome. We'll link to your blog too, so retailers can follow along. But that's so good. Affiliate and getting those reviews, critical. How do you keep up with the ever-changing retail landscape?
It's very hard. It's very, very hard. Like I said, thank you for your podcast. At least I'm now listening to like other people who are doing business, and I try to listen to podcasts, 1 or 2 when I'm doing my workout. Okay. The other one is once again YouTube. Along my journey, I've subscribed to some of successful retailers, some of successful people on Shopify, Etsy, other places. And I've subscribed to their channels because they're always up to date. Right. And if they're up to date, I can, piggyback on them to be up to date, and I get notified. Other one, which is very important, is being a part of a community. And recently I joined CPG community. I didn't know what CPG meant, consumer packaged goods. And someone asked me, what are you doing? And I was like, I just joined the community. But you know what? But the thing is, there's so many things common between brands. You don't have to be a CPG brand to try to find out how to trademark your brand. Exactly. And that's what I was looking for. And I found help. I found 2 people who talked with me, and they might help me with trademark. Then other people reached out to me. Do you need help with your website? Do you need help with this? Do you need help with social media? So there's just so much help already, being a part of that community. And community is very, very important. Like find these communities, be a part of that. They also have like socials in different cities. You could, nice. Like they have a New York community, they have a Chicago community. So I'm also a part of New York community. So if there's an event, I go to that event.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a good way to keep up. To help retailers be stronger, more rooted in success, what's a branding foundational best practice?
One thing I would say is retailers have to be on social media for marketing, right? But do not believe everything you see on social media. I say that because, I get bogged down a lot of times. Sometimes I'm comparing my first chapter with someone's 10th chapter. Right. And I'm like, I'm not doing enough. And that can be so demotivating. And I just want to tell everyone, no one has it all together. Right. Even if it seems like they have it all together, no one's doing it alone. Everyone has help. Use social media for its benefits, like market, do collaborations, talk to other people. But stop there. When you start the comparison, that's the killer of joy. And I think that's so important because I get bogged down doing that. Don't do that. And I would say, like I am at New York now and I met a few people and I'm probably going to do like some giveaway or something with them. How did I find them? I found them on social media. I found you, right? So it's important to market yourself and don't worry about your post being perfect or not. When I started, I sometimes laugh looking at my old posts, but hey, I showed up.
Exactly.
Right? And I'm so much better because I kept doing it. I kept doing it. I kept doing my first video when I came in front of camera, I was petrified. I still don't like coming in front of camera, but I kept at it. I kept doing it. I kept doing it. That's important. The other one is don't try to do all by yourself. Delegate where you can. The 80-20 rule that I talked about. And I understand it's hard when you're starting out, right? But when you try to do everything, nothing gets done. So try to find, freelancers. You can get the economical ones. Like I talked about the visual branding person I have. I mean, I think anyone can leverage that person. Try to find people, try to find help. Don't be scared to ask for help. People will help you out. Don't try to figure it out all on your own.
It's so true. That was like a mini masterclass right there for retailers. That's so good. If you had to start your business all over again, what's one thing you'd do differently?
Hands down, branding. I would start with branding. There's so many products out there. Why should someone buy from you? What are you selling that others are not selling? And if you look at just my products, not the prints, everyone's selling bags. Everyone's selling mugs. Everyone's selling, phone covers. Why should people buy from you? And I think this is what I was missing. But in my case, I didn't figure out my story till 3 months and 4 months in. But branding is so important. How can someone know your story? What is your story? They need to find that bond with you. To say, okay, I want to buy from Doodling NYC. And when they're buying from Doodling NYC, they're actually buying from Mehru, right? So they need to know who Mehru is, right? Why is she doing this? So I think hands down, branding is something I would do with my next gig. It's so, so important.
Yep. I so agree. Finally, what do you think the future of independent retail looks like?
The first and foremost thing is community building. I think it's so important. Once again, I talked about why should someone buy from you, right? You need to have a community wherein people need to know you, not just the products that you're, selling.
Right.
Like either it's a family-owned business, it's you, or it's you and your husband, in case my husband is the doodler. So they need to know you. And it's so, so important, especially nowadays, because there's just so much supply,
Yes.
supply. How tell them, give them a reason to buy from you.
Yeah.
Right. So it's so important. The other one that goes hand in hand with community is experience. Right.
Yes.
How do you create that experience? Like, I'm still figuring it out for Doodling NYC, and I want to try out something.
Yeah.
Give them an experience when they're buying from you. It's very, very important. And omnipresence is very important. So everyone's buying online. I tend to buy everything online. Like, you've got Instagram shop, TikTok shop, it's just everywhere.
Yep.
But then there are people who still want to go to a store, touch and feel the product before they buy the product.
Yep.
So I wouldn't say just brick and mortar, and I wouldn't say just online.
Yeah.
You need to have a presence everywhere. And I'm trying to see if I can have presence in some of the stores. And,
Yep.
that's my reason I'm here.
Right.
So I think that's important. And the other thing is personalization is important, and uniqueness is important.
Yeah.
Right. What is so unique about it? What are you doing differently that others are not doing? So I think all those aspects are very, very important in such a saturated space where people are selling things.
It's so true. If our retailers do those things, like check, they will be set up for success.
Absolutely.
Those are so good.
Absolutely.
How can people connect with you and learn more?
People can connect me on LinkedIn. They can connect with me on Instagram. I'm Mehru_Anand on Instagram. Even Doodling NYC, I manage that myself, so they can connect me there. Or even on LinkedIn. And I will be happy to help anyone out, because it gets lonely. It gets very, very lonely. And there are times I get bogged down, and I want to be as real as I can. But there are times I say, I can't do this. I'm not made for this. I don't want to do this, right? Because I also come from corporate world. So I have that muscle. Strong. That's my strong muscle, right? Knowing what to do, right? So I think if I can help someone, I would love to help them or guide them. I mean, I'm not very experienced, but I've learned a lot. Yeah. And I would love to help people out.
I love it so much. We say at Crystal Media all the time, we're happy to help. And you've said that a lot on this podcast too. We're very aligned in that sense. So that's so awesome. And you have a lot of experience from the corporate side that I feel like can really add to your retail business and other retailers if they reach out. So
absolutely,
thank you for making that offer. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, thank you. Everyone, remember, I'm rooting for your success. Have a great weekend. Bye. Okay, I have exciting news to share. The Rooted in Retail Mastermind is launching this January. It's your chance to connect deeper with me, the retail pros from the show, and an incredible community of resilient retailers, both online and in person, with several meetups throughout the year. Get on the waitlist at rootedinretail.com/waitlist. And don't just listen to the show, be a part of the magic and grow your store with us. I hope to see you there.